Report, a weekly magazine of boxing news. And we start this weekly magazine, as we do almost every week, with a Mike Tyson story. In the latest episode, is Razor Ruddock. Now, Tyson will fight Ruddock. Well, how do you see this? Good news?
Well,
bad news?
It's good news for boxing fans. And you know what? We carp about boxing. We carp about matchups. Hey, guess what? Mike Tyson and Razor Ruddock's going to be a good fight. And why shouldn't they fight? They're fighting March 18th at the Mirage. Don King and Steve Wynn, those two good friends, back together again. And it should be a very, very interesting fight. Razor Ruddock, a legitimate contender, as is Tyson. And I just think it's going to be a heck of a boxing match.
Tyson is a guy, as well as I know him, he's a guy, when he says, don't worry about that, I know he's ready to fight. And that's exactly what he said about Razor Ruddock, because people kept asking him, what do you think about this guy? You can take a big step back if you lose to this guy. Tyson is saying, I'll take care of that. Just don't worry about that. And when I've heard him say that in the past, he's taken care of that.
Well, he normally has, and it's a risk for him because he is taking out a very tough guy. But then Mike Tyson is confident now. He's had these early knockouts, and I'm sure he feels very much he can take care of whoever's in front of him. Razor Ruddock showed in the Michael Dokes fight, beating Michael Dokes almost with one hand injured, that he is a tough customer. We're going to find out just how tough on March 18th.
Well, you talked about strange marriages with the Steve Wynn and company at the Mirage. Now there's another strange marriage, of course. But I'll tell you, in this boxing business these days, you can't keep track of who's in bed with who. But some people who are in bed with one another: Bob Arum, Seth Abraham at HBO, and Dan Duva.
Yeah, the shifting tides always in boxing, and because of the television situation, it is changing things. That group is together, trying to put together their own KO boxing closed circuit situation. And what's happening, Barry, I think, is whoever controls certain fighters has to make a deal with some television person, and so that's what's going on now.
And Don King, of course, has taken his act over to Showtime, and so you will see the Mike Tyson, assumedly the Mike Tyson Don King show on Showtime, and you'll see the Holyfield show on HBO. Follow the bouncing boxer.
It's going to be tough to keep track.
And the guy who really seems to be right in the middle of all of this and yet not really tied down in any one direction is Julio Cesar Chavez.
A fascinating case, to be sure. It had been announced that Julio Cesar Chavez, as of May 1, would be signing a 6-fight deal with Bob Arum of Top Rank and would be fighting for him. But then it appeared that Chavez, before that deal took effect, would be on the undercard March 18th of this Razor Ruddock Tyson fight. Now it appears that the Mirage is saying that on February 2nd, Julio Cesar Chavez is going to fight Meldrick Taylor. Now, this draws guffaws, if you will, from some, like Bob Arum, who doesn't understand how Taylor can be fighting Aaron Davis in January, and all of a sudden he's going to fight in February against Julio Cesar Chavez, and he claims, no, that's not the case. The Mirage people claim it isn't signed yet, but they think it's going to happen. And of course, Aaron Davis is sitting in the background saying, oh, wait a second, this does affect me and my welterweight crown. So, as you said, it's a picture that's still up in the air, but in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to really see it solidified.
Yeah, Bob's over there right now guffawing, as a matter of fact. I think Julio Cesar Chavez basically takes the attitude that sign now and worry about it later. He's been signing for 4 or 5 years now.
Well, he's been disgruntled with Don King, presumably, for a long, long time. Never seems to leave the fold, so we'll see if this really happens.
And he just had to pay off $885,000 to some place called Azteca Promotions. Don't ask. Yeah. I don't know. Let's take a look at the guy. This you can ask about, and yeah, maybe I do know. Vinny Borghese will get it on with Idolmar Paisan, the immortal Idolmar Paisan, who you've seen many times here on Top Rank Boxing. That'll be in Atlantic City Friday, December 28th. It's for the IBC Junior World Super Lightweight Championship. Woo. Junior welterweights, John Rafuse, who has kind of gotten back in the hunt. He's got some new management now. He's gone from being an opponent to a guy who says, hey, look, I'm going to make one real run at this. He fights Jake Rodriguez, also the 28th in Atlantic City. You can watch that one on Telemundo. Then after the first of the year, we'll come back Championship Sunday. We start with Sunday broadcast. We'll be going back to Thursday nights in the spring, but it'll be Virgil Hill and Mike Peake. That will be for the WBA Light Heavyweight Championship. And for us, this is really our year-end show. This is the last fight of the year that we're doing, and I thought it might be interesting to kind of look back on some of the high points and memorable moments that you can recall through the course of 1990.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. For me, anyway, I'll pick out one moment that I thought was intriguing, and there are probably 2 key moments in boxing. One I know you're going to probably deal with, one I'll deal with, and that is Meldrick Taylor and Julio Cesar Chavez, that dramatic last-second knockdown in which Richard Steele stopped the fight. Controversy either way, but a tremendous duel ending in dramatic fashion.
And for me, of course, and this is practically a cliche already, but it was Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson in February in Tokyo. So much so to the point that my wife and I had gone to a party that night. I didn't even think to tape the fight. I heard it on the radio on a news broadcast on the way home, and both of us kind of looked at each other and said, nah. Obviously, it's a mistake. It's a news guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It was just that ludicrous to me. Let's talk about the names that we might be seeing. Maybe we didn't see quite as much in 1990, but we might see start to emerge in 1991.
Well, we can take a start by looking at some of the champions who probably will emerge this year. Michael Carbajal, a young champion who is getting better and better every time out. Simon Brown, a welterweight who we know is getting better and better. Michael Moore, the WBO light heavyweight champ, who will probably face the other guy that we'll be hearing a lot of, depending on who wins. That is Virgil Hill, who we're going to see on January 6th.
Yeah, Michael Moore is a guy I really like, and I don't think right now anybody really knows him. Julian Jackson's another name that comes to mind. He's a champion, and his champion nobody really seems to know.
Yeah, that is true, and I think he would like a little more recognition, as with some of the young Turks who are coming up. The people like Charles Murray, who should be challenging for a world title this coming year. Kid Hakeem, a fighter you like a lot, I know, bantamweight, and then all those young heavyweights who also are good.
Let's talk a little bit about some of those young heavyweights. Who are the guys that you think really might surface? Now, all of a sudden, people are starting to talk about a guy by the name of Riddick Bowe, and that may start to become a familiar name. He had a big story written about him in Sports Illustrated. He's a good guy, a very confident guy, and he's really starting to emerge as a pretty darn good fighter, too.
He might be emerging, even though Ray Mercer is fighting for the WBO title against Francesco Damiani on January 11th, and Ray Mercer still looks like a very good contender. Riddick Bowe has shown with that win over Cooper and some of the other things that he is a man to watch, to be sure. And then you have to include Bruce Seldon, the Atlantic City Express, Tommy Morrison, who is doing well in the movies in any case, and we're going to be seeing him on January 11th as well, along with Bruce Seldon. I think that these are all good young heavyweights to watch, and they could create a lot of fun in the heavyweight division.
This is the year that you really have the feeling one of them is going to emerge, and it's just a question of which one, who grows up the fastest. But what I really love about this whole sport in general, it just continues to be the theater of the absurd.